rise and grind, folks. Guys, I am on the way to a brand new customer. This is an OAC call. She called yesterday and she said that the AC stopped working and she noticed a bunch of water in the basement on the floor, so she turned it off and gave us a call. Guys, I am almost there right now. Let's go take a look. I'll see y'all when I get there. What's up, guys? I'm back at the truck and I told the customer to turn the thermostat on upstairs, and this is an elderly customer. She said that the thermostat was blank, and sure enough, the battery light was on. But guys, listen to this. She said that when the AC unit was running, the supply duct, and I'm going to show you guys this when I go downstairs. She said that the supply duct was sweating pretty bad. And guys, right now she has, I believe it's a Goodman 80% furnace with a coil and condenser, straight AC. And I noticed that she didn't have a dehumidifier down in the basement. But first things first, guys, I got to put these batteries in this thermostat and I got to turn the unit on. I told her it may be a condensation issue, which is separate from the unit working. But before we can take a look at the condensation, we have to make sure that the thermostat is turning this AC unit on. But I actually tried to get more information, guys. I asked her about the set point, but like I said, she actually turns it on and turns it off. Even though this is a digital thermostat, she wasn't too clear about the set point and all that. So guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this up from the top. First things first, you just gotta make sure the thermostat is working, and it is. I'm gonna put this thing back on the wall, and let me make sure I got my key and lock this truck up. And I'm gonna take you guys back downstairs to the basement, and we're gonna take a look at the supply temp. All right, I got everything. All right, I'll meet y'all back downstairs. All right, guys, I'm gonna go in the basement. I was waiting for the time delay to kick off, but this unit doesn't look too cold. What is this? This is a 1336. That's a, what is that? What is this? A 13 Sierra, 3-ton? Yep. 3-ton straight AC. Guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go check my supply. And yeah, guys, based on what the customer said, she just never seen condensation on the supply duct in that basement. She said that her husband took care of like most of the general checkups. She doesn't know if anyone ever came out here, like a company ever came out here to do maintenance on the furnace or the AC, but this is like an educational call. For starters, like you said, if we have a 20-degree split, which I'm pretty sure we probably do, suction line is already sweating. I'm gonna go inside. I gotta check that filter, and I gotta figure out if she wants to either put a dehumidifier in that basement or if she wants to insulate that supply, whichever one is gonna be more feasible, or probably both, based on how that basement is. It's like a split basement. We got the general room where the furnace is in, and then you have another, looks almost like a storage area, where she said that was mainly where most of the condensation was dripping from the supply. But guys, tell you what, let's go inside, and I'm gonna show you the area that she said was leaking water, and I'm gonna check my supply. I'll be right back. All right, guys, our supply is spot on, and she got a new filter in here, which is good. And this is our 80% Goodman furnace. Pretty sure the furnace is 2013 as well, which makes this about, what, 12 years old. But that's the back door. She said that condensate was coming from here, which is our supply, into this room here. She said this room was pretty bad with the condensate. But guys, one thing I mentioned, humidity is definitely going to be an issue. All right, thank you. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna have you turn it up in a second. You can stay near the thermostat for a second. I'm gonna meet you up there. Okay. All right. So I'm just educating the customer on that thermostat that we just put the batteries in. But here, I know for a fact in the summertime, humidity is going to be an issue down here, and this is just something you can't fight. However, I just told the customer putting a dehumidifier down here, or probably even putting a piece of insulation, because the supply run isn't too long. Whichever, I told the customer, whichever one is going to be more feasible, but the fact that the supply duct was sweating, I'm more so concerned with the humidity in the basement in general versus just the supply. Because think about it like this: if we just insulate the supply, the humidity is still going to be strong down here in the basement. And once again, this customer said that her husband took care of most of the general maintenance, so most of this stuff is going to be her first time ever getting this explained close up. But guys, insulating the supply is going to be simple, but I recommend slapping a dehumidifier here and probably putting another one on the other side just to lower the humidity levels in this basement. Because guys, one thing I'm going to mention to her in a second, even if we opt for insulating the supply, if the humidity is too high in the summertime down here, she could get mold growth, and she could get that mildew smell, which is very possible, especially in the summertime with basements. You definitely don't want to have that. So both of those issues are not going to be fixed with insulating the supply. That's why a dehumidifier is going to be the best option. Price wise, it could be more expensive. Like I said, for a dehumidifier, in this case I recommend getting two, one in each room, and like I say, you should be good to go. But I'm just looking at my line set here. But guys, I spoke to this customer about maintenance, and she wants to get the AC maintenance done. And the drains are okay, the pump is okay, the filter is clean. I'm just gonna go outside and do the AC maintenance on the condenser. We're gonna check our cat, and it looks like they just got the landscaper to cut the grass. They don't have a hose spigot. I think the hose spigot is in the front of the house. This coil doesn't look too bad, but I'm gonna make a note that next spring, once we come out, we're just gonna have to probably put a hose adapter on that sink. We definitely got to at least hose this coil down once. But alright guys, let me go upstairs. I gotta show this customer about the thermostat. I pretty much told her about the hold button and the time delay, but right now I just got her upstairs, just getting comfortable with that thermostat. So let me go up there and make sure she's comfortable with the thermostat setting, and I'm gonna come back out here and I'm gonna clean the unit. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I took the door off, and this, my friends, is why maintenance saves the day. Well, maintenance, if you get it done on time, saves the day. Look at all this. And this turbo cap, of course, it's not the original capacitor for the unit, but it looks like it got replaced within 10 years. And guys, what we're gonna do now is, I got my handle out on the disconnect. Let me clean up all the spider webs. And you guys hear that buzzing sound? That is not a lawnmower. That buzzing sound is this contactor. Now, I'm definitely going to add this to the list of things that should be replaced. And guys, once again, a buzzing contactor, similar to a weak capacitor, a buzzing contactor will still work, but if the contacts worsen, this could lead to an AC issue. And guys, being that this AC unit is already 12 years old, any small issue that goes unchecked, it just snowballs into a bigger issue. Who knows what else can break down? Either compressor problems or condenser fan motor problems. But I'm definitely going to show the customer this after we clean everything up. I'm going to show her, let her hear the sound. And guys, like I said, being that this thing is already 12 years old and there's no protection out here. This thing is baking in the sun all summer. This contactor is considered a maintenance item. We don't expect contactors or capacitors to last more than 7 or 8 years, problem free. Once you get past that 5-year mark, depending on the usage and location, like I said, she runs this AC unit pretty low. In the summer, I think she has a set point at like 70 or 71. I asked her about the set point inside. What's weird is that we couldn't see the thermostat. Everything was blank when I got here, but she said that it goes blank and then sometimes it turns on. And I told her, I'm like, no, that's not normal. If that thermostat goes blank, that could cause the AC not to work. But she said the AC did maintain off and on, but she had a lot of problems going on. She said she couldn't see the thermostat, and she said that, of course, the condensation problem she was having inside. But back to what I was saying, guys, whenever possible, you guys are out doing maintenance and service calls, most importantly, you want to show customers. You can explain this all day, but I like showing customers exactly what I'm saying, because if I try to explain to a customer how a contactor is supposed to sound without showing them this, it could sound like I'm talking in another language. So guys, that's why keeping things simple is very important. And when you can, I don't care if you gotta show pictures, or like I said, this customer, she's elderly, but she can still get around. I told her I was going to take a look at this unit, and I'll let her know if I run across anything that needs her attention. I certainly want to show her this sound, and like I said, I'm going to do before and after pictures after I clean this up. But guys, like I said, whatever we can do, or whatever you can do, just to educate customers, you know, that's only going to help them out. Because like I said, guys, she had no expectations. She didn't know this unit was out here until I came out and showed her, you know, the 2 halves of the AC unit. So guys, even if she only remembers 1 or 2 things of what I told her, that's going to be better than her just assuming that, you know, just because she turns the thermostat on, this AC is supposed to turn on. It's not always cut and dry, you know. This AC is like a machine. It has moving parts. It has electricity going through it. And this is outside, so parts are going to be battling against the elements in the summer and in the winter. So it's always important to know what's out here and how to avoid breakdowns. So, but all right, guys, that's enough yapping in the trap. Let me clean this up and I'll be right back. Guys, got everything cleaned up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check for a potential difference on this contactor coil. Now the sound is definitely alarming, but we still want to make sure that correct voltage is passing from the bottom side to the top side of this contactor. Incorrect voltage on that contactor could ultimately lead to compressor or fan motor problems. So you definitely want to make sure whenever you guys are out there doing AC maintenances, it only takes 2 seconds to do. It could suck if the unit is too close to the wall, but you gotta MacGyver and you gotta make it work. Just make sure, like I said, you got 0 volts from top to bottom. If you have a voltage difference, even if you're out there for maintenance, I would recommend replacing that contactor, because whatever you see now, if you're getting a 2 volt difference from top to bottom now, as soon as you leave, if that jump up to 5, now, like I said, guys, the customer's gonna call you and say, hey, how come it stopped working and you're just out here? Nope. The purpose of the maintenance, guys, is to avoid breakdowns. If you do find something that could present a future issue, there's nothing wrong with just bringing that up, and the customer would appreciate knowing what could happen before it happens. So now they have some added security of knowing what to expect. Sounds good, guys? Of course it does. All right, let's get this show on the road here. I got my meter. Now, let's check this out. I'll be right back. All right, guys. 0.87, 3.88, and it's not, I think the high today, it's not hot right now, it's like maybe 65, 66 degrees. I think the high today is going to be like in the high 70s. It feels pretty good out here. No humidity, which is great. You got to take these days while you can. But all right, guys, let me move some wires out of the way and let's check our contactor. I'll be right back. All right, guys. We don't have a potential difference yet, but I can rest assured that eventually, if the sound worsens, that could lead to a voltage imbalance. And like I said, guys, anytime you have less or more volts on one side than the other, either it's not going to work or it's going to break down and then not work. So, but all right, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move some stuff out the way. I got to show the customer this sound, and I'm going to show her the before and after pictures. I got to give her a little bit more education on what can happen with that contactor. But all right, guys, let me get to it. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I just got done doing the paperwork. This customer, we gave her the price for the contactor. She definitely wants to get the maintenance done. She said she's probably gonna wait until next spring to get the work done out here with the contactor. But what we'll do is we'll come back out here in the fall to make sure that the furnace is rocking and rolling. And I gave the customer the filter size as well. And I think that's a pleated filter. So I told her every 3 months, just make it a routine to replace that filter. And guys, that's all there is to it. This was an educational call. Technically, this is an OAC call. Thermostat was blank. We put batteries in the thermostat, and customer told us about the condensation problem. The condensation is normal in basements due to high humidity in the summer. That problem can be fixed with a dehumidifier, and the customer said she's probably gonna get a handyman. She doesn't do most of the housework here. She's probably gonna get the handyman to put a dehumidifier somewhere in that basement. But that should eliminate the water problems dripping from the supply duct. And moving forward, if we can try to stay on top of maintenance, we should be good to go here. But all right, guys, there you have it. I'm gonna rock out. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.